Hey, what is up guys? This is Josh the Gamer here coming at you with a brand new Quorum game programming tutorial. Now in this video we are going to be learning how to draw images on the screen with a game. So what we need is the libraries.game.graphics.drawable class imported because this is going to be a drawable. Alright. So, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and do what I want you guys to do is create a drawable object. So in my case, I'm just going to create drawable D. And like I said in the previous tutorial, I do not recommend naming your objects one single letter. Give it a name with meaning so you know exactly what it is and what it's supposed to do. Alright, so let's go ahead and go into our create game action now. And we're going to do D:, and now we need the load. Now, first, I'm going to show you how, so in this tutorial, we're going to load a texture or an image file into, for the drawable to display using the text file path or file load methods. Texture and texture regions we are not going to cover. For that, you can go to the documentation on the Quorum website, which I will leave a link to down in the video description for the drawable. I'll leave the drawable documentation down in the video description. So you guys can take a look at those methods and how to actually use them. But for right now, we're going to do file, or text file path. The easiest one to do first is the text file path. So right now we have an empty path, and right now we would get an exception. However, what we want to do is we want to actually load an image in here. So let's go ahead and click on our project name, or our project in the projects pane, right click on it, go down to new folder, and we're going to name it assets. In my case, I'm doing it with a lowercase a. You can do it with an uppercase A, or you can name whatever you can name this folder whatever you want. Just make sure you know the name of it. Now, as you can see, we don't have anything in it. However, I actually have a image already prepared. This image is actually my own Sonic the Hedgehog OC, or original character. I think it looks pretty cool. I actually drew this myself with the help of a base. So yeah, that's kind of what that is. Let's go ahead and drag it in there. Okay, we can't do that. So we're going to go ahead and go to a new tab. I'm going to go to my user directory, NetBeans projects, tutorial game, assets. Now we can go ahead and drag this over. And since I'm using Mac OS, I can use tabs within Finder, which is very useful. Okay, now as you can see, as soon as we dragged it over, NetBeans updated our projects pane to show that assets now has an image inside of it. So there's the image again. Pretty cool. Now that we have that image in our project, we need to reference it. So go into your empty set of quotations inside of the load method call, and do assets / and then whatever the name of your image is. So in my case it's ehedge.png. Now I will say it is best that you use PNGs because they are not only the best quality, but they just overall work better in my experience. So I would just recommend using a PNG file. Alright, so now that we have that done, we can go ahead and add it to the screen. So add D. Go ahead and hit the save button, run it. And once it shows, and then once the game is done loading, you should see the image now rendered on the screen. Pretty cool. However, if we don't want to use the load method where you have text, I'm just going to copy this path. You can use a file object. So what we want to do is we want to import the file class, because that's what class we need to import. We need the file class in order to use it. So let's go ahead and do that. So use libraries system.file. And underneath our drawable, we're going to create a file object. So I'm just going to call it file. So file. Now, inside of our create game action above our load, we need to have the file object get that image. So then we can use the file object. We can pass it to the load method, and then it will actually load the image. And the way we do that is by calling the setPath method within the file class. So do your file object name, setPath, and then put in the path to your file. So in my case, it's assets/ehedge.png. Now that we have that all situated, inside of our load method, or inside of our parameters for the load action, we can put file. And as you can see, we get no errors. We're going to save it. We're going to run it. And as you can see, the image still renders just fine. So either way works. I prefer, honestly, to use the load method where you pass it a text parameter, simply because that will save memory. The reason why it's more memory efficient the way by passing it a text literal instead of a file object is because when you're creating that file object, you are reserving more RAM storage for that object and its private properties. So it just overall saves memory that way. But that's just my personal opinion. You can do it any way you want to do it, whatever makes sense to you. And yeah, that another, I was going to say that this is the last little bit of the tutorial. However, there's actually one other cool thing you can do with images in your game. So we're going to go ahead and import the color class for this. So libraries.game.graphics.color. Go ahead and create your color object. I'm going to say color C. And then we can go ahead and do a set color. Okay, so now inside of this parameter, this takes a color. So inside of set color, do C:, and then whatever color you want. So in my case, I am going to go ahead and do, I want it to look red. So there we go. Now, this should apply a red tint to the image. Now, also, I will leave a link in the video description to the documentation for the color class, so you can see all the colors that are available for use with it when you're using the color class, because I know that if you're going to be using it, you need to know what colors, so you're not trying to reference a color that isn't there. Anywho, let's save it and run it. Now, as you can see, it applied a red tint to my image. Really cool looking, actually. Let's say we want it to apply a white filter. or a white tint to it. Where I change the red to white, I save it, run it, and since it's white, it doesn't do anything. However, let's try yellow. Yeah, let's try yellow, because I know yellow exists. And now, as you can see, it adds a yellow tint to the image. It's really cool. So if you wanted to actually, say, create a spaceship for a game that flashes colors, that's what you would use. You would set the color of the image that you're rendering on the screen, so it can apply a tint to it to make it look like it's flashing colors. It's really, really cool. So yeah, that'll pretty much do it for this tutorial, guys. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all in the next one, where we will be learning about image sheets.